first question that people usually have when they find out that the city is doing a branding project is, what is a branding project? And our first answer is usually, well, it's not a logo design project. We want to make that really clear. This is not just a design exercise. It's about telling a story. It's about defining what it means to be High Point. It's about giving people in the community, businesses in the community, the tools to tell that story, to get people excited about being in High Point, about moving to High Point, visiting High Point. It's really what ties together everyone in the community, no matter what their background, their industry, their age is. It's a rallying cry that the entire community can get behind to move forward. I think High Point was a really exciting project for us for a few different reasons. There's already a lot happening, a lot of really exciting opportunities going on in High Point. So this project isn't the first thing, it's not the start of something. We've come in at a time that we're able to build on what's already happening in the community. The community has been really great to work with. Everyone that we've talked to has been so willing to help us, so excited about what we're doing, so ready for this project to, not just be a project, but be a reality. And just having the support of the task force and of city staff and of community leaders has made our job a lot easier.
You guys represent a lot of different groups. This community very clearly, very strong university, strong city government, the furniture industry. There's all these big players. And it sounds like many of you guys talked about how much these organizations have already started to come together for a single vision. But we kind of want to take that to the next level, because we still think that it can be, sometimes you get this feeling of like, if we're all trying to promote High Point, but if we're all doing it in slightly different ways, it can feel a little messy, like we're kind of crashing into each other. And so the goal of this project, there's kind of two parallel paths. There obviously is like the city government identity, city of High Point, and all the brand architecture of, the departments and entities and libraries and things that, fall under that. But then there's just High Point, the place, which some people, which really, in a lot of ways, the city government's part of that, but in a lot of ways it's not. It's just a place. And so we want to kind of think about both of those things. How do those work? And then how do those kind of all come together?
So there's no way that we can build that story if we don't go to the people in the community. So public engagement is a really, really critical part of our process, and we spend a lot of time and a lot of effort making sure that we've reached as many people in the community from diverse backgrounds, different ages, different cultures, different belief systems, to understand what it means for them to be in High Point and what they want to see out of their city in the future. Our team has made 4 different trips to High Point. We've done over 40 interviews with people in the community. We've held over 10 focus groups. We've done a ton of meetings. I can't even count how many meetings there are. We've done 4 podcast episodes as well. There's a project website that people have been able to visit for the duration of the project. We did a community survey that received over 1,000 responses. And we held 8 different pop-up engagement events in really strategic places all around the community to go to people instead of expecting them to come to us.
It is. That's all it's been. And that's all it is to our residents. And we want to, that's why we're undergoing this project and there's more than just the 2 weeks of the year that the furniture market. We love furniture market. It's fantastic. You know what I mean? But there's so much more to High Point that we want to show and really change that perception that, there's more to do in High Point than just the furniture market. Furniture market's great, but really the influx of money that comes in from an economic standpoint is just huge. It's the furniture market brings in the equivalent of 2 Super Bowls each market. In economic impact to the state of North Carolina. It's the largest economic driver in the state, it's pretty awesome. And it does look like New York City when you're downtown.
This is a city of people who are incredibly generous. They are generous with their talent, their time, their resources, their money. And the people that are in High Point are loyal to High Point. They really believe in the city, and they really believe in the fact that their story has a place here. I've been so inspired by the level of entrepreneurship here, that whether you're passionate about cutting hair, or being a barista, or being a distiller, or being a card creator, people really want to bring their talents here and see them flourish because they want to support the city that's supported them so much.
So you guys have probably seen Congdon on a lot of buildings, especially Congdon Yards. So the Congdon family started Old Dominion Freight Line, and they started it in Virginia. And so with the leadership of Lillian and her two sons, Earl Jr. and Jack, they ran the company to essentially what it is today. And how they came to High Point is they, back in 1960, moved here after they bought another company that was located here in High Point, and it was actually bigger than Old Dominion at the time, so it made sense to relocate their corporate headquarters. So the Congdon family has been here since 1960, and so they're passionate about High Point and what it means to support the city. So the Earl and Catherine Congdon Family Foundation is a private family foundation that gives out grants to nonprofits for them to do their great work. So our efforts here at Congdon Yards is a part of our economic development focus, and it's a partnership with Business High Point Chamber of Commerce. And it's a really great sustainable partnership because it allows us to focus on the buildings and making sure that they function well, and they're a tribute to what we're trying to accomplish as a city, right? We are a creative city, we're an international city. How can we honor all of those things through the spaces? And then of course Business High Point is phenomenal with business support programming that is going to make us sustainable as a community, as a creative city, supporting our entrepreneurs, our startups, our existing businesses, our scale-ups, our scale-downs. So it's been a really great partnership with Business High Point.
High Point University is a God Family Country school. We are the premier life skills university. We have over 6,000 students now and have grown by leaps and bounds over the past 20 years. We've grown our campus from about 90 acres to 600 acres in that time, as well as exciting new academic programs are coming: a law school, a dental school, a school of optometry, and school of nursing. So academic excellence is currently our focus. We are a 365-day operational campus, so we don't just turn our lights off. So that means that students are here all year round. That means they're renting vehicles, they're dining in our awesome restaurants downtown, they're staying in hotels when their families come to visit. So the economic impact of High Point University is so vital to the city. So we need the city's partnership, and we certainly want to continue to grow our city, and certainly why Dr. Quabain has been an integral part of the transformation of downtown High Point.
Yeah, there's a lot of creativity here in High Point. There's an urban vibe here. High Point has what it needs, but they got to come back in to get it, to find it. I consider myself somewhat of an artist. I've always been creative. I'm very creative. And right now, at this point, from my business perspective, I'm just looking and continuing creative ways of bringing awareness and educating about High Point's Black history, because you can't tell the story of this city without telling the Black history.
I'd say High Point is a community yearning for progression. A lot of people are looking to get things perfect the first go-round. These are people who are actively coming back to the drawing board and saying, well, what have we done that worked? What are we doing that's working today? What are we going to do that's not going to work tomorrow that we can shift right now? These people are dedicated to making sure that they can live past it. I mean, in the last 5 or 10 years has been like a huge shift in the way their dynamics and their average lives have been led. So that's really caused a lot of people to start thinking, to start caring more about one another. So I'd say a step towards progression is where they're headed.
I think we look at shifts, and I think we look at time, and you know, we can get, I don't want to say stagnant, but we can get comfortable with something. And just because something is comfortable and it fits, doesn't mean it's the right thing. And I think this is a generational opportunity for us to challenge our norms, like to get better, to take a look at who we are and who we're becoming, and make an adjustment. And you know, cities that don't do that, they don't grow.
All of the research and engagement that we did over the course of several months culminated in what we call the brand audit. It's a nearly 300-page document that guides us moving forward to figure out what is the brand story. The brand strategy is about defining that story, defining the common threads in the community. When it comes to the strategy process, we really started narrowing in on this idea that while the furniture industry is remarkable and a huge asset for High Point, not everyone really felt connected to it or felt a part of that. So how could we take the attributes that the furniture industry brings to High Point and turn that into something that the entire community could connect with? And that's when we developed the idea that creativity is for everyone. It's not something that can be gate-kept. It's not something that only belongs to you if you're a furniture designer. Everyone in High Point is creative in some way. Whether it's the barista at 83 Custom Coffee making me my coffee in the morning, or the writer, the musician, the person starting a business. And so we wanted to use this brand to re-energize people, to democratize creativity, and make everyone realize that they're a part of the creative community of High Point in some way. High Point has always been the point where people come together, where people build new ideas, build new things, the point where creative things happen every day. Once we had the story set and we knew the direction that we were moving forward, it was time to design the assets needed to help tell that story. It's important to know that that story of creativity being a part of everyone in High Point, just seeing the logo, it doesn't have to say that, it has to support it. So if you think about a stage, if you're going to a play and you're waiting for the show to start, the stage is black, the curtain's drawn. But when the play starts and the lights come on, it's all the creativity that happens on top of it. So that's the brand, it's the stage, it's the platform, and then all of the creativity in the community and the way the brand gets implemented, that's the creativity, that's what brings the story to life. With design, we knew that there were two ways we wanted to be able to tell that story. One was a lot of color. We wanted to use color to convey collaboration, creativity, the openness and inclusivity of the community. And the second direction was the idea of some part of the brand being open source. So some sort of system that people in the community can use, contribute to, and make their own. And so we tried a lot of things. We used a lot of different fonts, colors, shapes, but ultimately that led us to the primary mark, which we felt would help us support the story the best. It's a simple word mark, but there's also a lot of intention that went into it. We spent a lot of time making sure the way the G connects into the I was perfect, to really speak to that connection and collaboration piece of the story. Same with the T going into the point. And we spent a lot of time lining things up and making sure things were symmetrical, really making sure that this mark was a reflection of the high level of design in the community. But it's not just about one mark, it's about a whole system of elements. So the H point mark is the open source piece. This is something that can be used as shorthand, that people in the community can make their own and change the colors, change the background, abstract it. They can really take it and put their own spin on it. No matter what people do with the H point mark, it ties back to that brand story. They're being creative, they are doing their own thing, they are coming up with their own ideas. We also developed a pattern that can be used in a lot of different ways, in a lot of different colors. It was a way to combine all 12 colors in the brand palette. It's also a nod to the community's textile history, as well as just that really clean, sophisticated design. We didn't want our designs to feel too high-end and therefore exclusionary. It was about finding the balance between really clean and sophisticated design, while also making sure that it still felt accessible to the entire community and that everyone in the community could buy into it.
One of the things that I love about where we are as a community is that we are very not just welcoming to hear other people's voices and perspectives. We're truly like making direct invitations. We want people to be at the table making the decisions of what we're going to look like in 5-10 years. And now we as High Point have a really cool place with our creative city, with our furniture market, with everything else that we have going on. I mean, it's just all these different things matter, and they're all additional amenities that make us who we are. I mean, one of my favorite saying is that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, and I truly believe that for High Point.
With expanding what creativity is, we get a chance to tell a population of folks and say, hey, look, your creativity may be different from mine, but it's no less valid and no less welcome here than anybody else's. And so come on out, show it, let's celebrate it together.
What I love about the brand strategy is you're taking that unique word design and you're really expanding that into the creative class to have a whole new meaning. Yes, it's in home furnishings, but look at where we are now. It's culinary, it's art, it's makerspace, it can be anything. And so that's the inclusivity of it, and that's what we really get excited about. That's where the community, our visitors, our businesses, our students, everyone in High Point can connect in that way.
I think everybody wants us to go to the next level. Everybody wants us to be the best and brightest city on the hill, all of that stuff. But it's going to take all of us. So that's what I would say to High Pointers. If you can't help, then don't hurt. What sense does it make for you to talk bad about the city where you live?
Creativity is not limited to one industry or one kind of person in High Point. Creativity is something that we all get the opportunity to be owners of and contributors of in everything that we do. I've had the unique privilege to see that creativity played out throughout entrepreneurs and nonprofits and educators and designers and individuals in this community. And I think giving people the empowered belief that they are equipped to be creative in their own way to make this city stronger and better is going to be something that resonates with so many people in High Point. I think it's going to make our city stronger. I think it's going to take us back to those foundational roots that have been laid to make High Point an amazing place. So we've been working on this project for the last year, but it's really just the beginning. A brand only means so much on day one. It's about consistent implementation over time that makes it impactful and makes it something that people love. I know that community leaders, the branding task force, the city government, they're already taking the necessary steps to implement this brand. We don't want it to sit on a shelf. Our job is to give the community the tools they need to take it and run with it, go and make it their own. We want to see this for the next 10, 20 years in the community. I'm really proud of the work that we've done here in High Point. The community already has a lot going for it and a lot of things in the works, and I think this project is going to be what takes High Point to the next level.
As you guys have said, it's not a rebrand, we're just telling our story, and that's 100% true. It's the perfect timing for us to show people that, this is a pretty amazing place, and we want you to come live, work, eat, play, study. We want all of that. You can do that here in High Point, and we want to show you.
This is one thing that I think, regardless of what happens in the next election or the next 10 or 15 years from now in my personal career, this is something that I will always be able to look back and say that I was part of. And just being able to take a concept and embrace an entire city worth of people and make them be a part of the design of something, a story that weaves everybody together, and then at the end of it you have this thing that everyone can share. Yeah, I'm incredibly proud of being a part of that, and especially chairing this committee. So yeah, it's something that I will wear as a badge of honor forever.